Alright, welcome back everyone. I'm making this video quick because I don't have time to be making it, but a lot of you have been asking, so I'm going to get the word out. Alright, yes, Pyroblast Fake Q Weakaura, which is this one. It's called Pyro Fake Q, and it's this one as far as a website. Yes, it has been broken by Blizzard. The reason for this is that they have made this add-on action forbidden. The add-on tries to call protected function spell cancel queued spell. That's no longer allowed. It has to do some reasons with the exploits. I'll get to that in a second. So it no longer works. If you try to use it now, you're going to get basically something like... Oh, come on, give me a crits game, please. Work with me. Oh, dear God, we're going to be here forever.
5 hours later.
Okay, if you try and use it, you're going to find out, yes, Weakaura has been blocked from an action, only blah, 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 blah. All right, so what do you have to use instead? We're no longer using Pyro Fake Q. You don't need a macro? Toss that away, okay? Throw it away. Just put on, from your spellbook or whatever, just regular Pyroblast. We're going to be using Pyroblast Anti-Q now. Okay, Pyroblast Anti-Q is this Weakaura. It'll be linked in the description. No macro needed. It just blocks Pyroblast from being cast until Fireball has been cast. Okay? Now I can show you how this works, but really there's nothing to it. It's just going to block your cast. Now, when using this Weakaura though, however, the way it works is that, like it says, it blocks Pyroblast from being cast until your Fireball has gone off. So, geez, can I think? Thank you, game. So, you need to mash Pyroblast towards the end of your cast, because the faster you mash, the smaller the gap will be between your Fireball and your Pyroblast. Regardless of how fast you smash, don't worry, there will be enough of a gap to ensure that Ignite Munching doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. Now, I know I said that the no macro needed with Anti-Q Weakaura. That's all there is to it. There's nothing special. I lied, okay? As you can see here, I've moved my key bindings around. I now have Pyroblast on this first action bar, and Fireball up here, and etc. And that is because it wasn't working properly when I demonstrated it earlier. Because the Anti-Q Weakaura does not work with all action bars of Bartender. Yes, I am an old man. I'm a boomer. I still use Bartender. I know some of you guys use Dominoes or whatever else that you Zoomers use nowadays. But there are some limitations with Anti-Q. It does not work with any mouse buttons. So if you use mouse buttons, including scroll wheel, to cast Pyroblast, I am sorry, this will not work for you. It also does not work with clicking on your action bars. And then certain action bars with Bartender, it does not work with either. It'll basically just, if you try and use it with a mouse button or with clicking, it'll just still... Spell queuing will still happen. It'll just send the Pyroblast right at the exact same time as your Fireball. It's as if you weren't even using the Weakaura and it didn't exist. And if you have it on certain action bars, you'll get a... actually, just kidding. I can't get it to reproduce the error. But if you put this on your Pyroblast on certain bars of Bartender or action keys of bars, it won't work. It'll either give you this error that I can't show you anymore because it's not happening for me, or it'll just... You'll notice that your Pyroblast actually gets queued up with your Fireball, and they're still casting at the exact same time. And you can just tell this, because when you go to cast your Pyroblast with a Hot Streak proc, right, like I can show you again, you'll just tell, like, I'll hit Pyroblast right now before it's even finished casting Fireball, and it still goes off, which means spell queuing is happening. The way it should be properly done is if you have it on a... If the Anti-Q Weakaura is working, what you'll see instead then is if I hit it at the end there, the Pyroblast doesn't go off, okay? And that's how you know the Anti-Q is working, and so it doesn't work with all action bars and action keys of Bartender if you're using Bartender, and it also doesn't work with mouse buttons, to include scroll wheel, unfortunately. So those are just some of the unfortunate limitations with this Weakaura. The reason we didn't use this Weakaura as much as the Pyroblast Fake Q Weakaura is because the Pyroblast Fake Q is very consistent, even though it did freeze your game and stuttered, which is annoying. It was very consistent in giving you a small gap, something like 30 to 50 milliseconds, nice small gap. Pyroblast Anti-Q is dependent upon your ping and how fast you're mashing. So even if you're mashing fast, if you have a high ping, this Weakaura can introduce gaps anywhere from 100 to 200 or even more. Even for some people with very high ping, this could be a 300 millisecond gap. That is an issue because obviously the bigger your gap, the more time you're not casting, the more of a DPS decrease it is. And just to put that in perspective, if we come to here and we just put on gear, let's just reload the sim so I can start over from the beginning to show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's just load up Phase 2 Fire Alliance Bis because we're on the right side of history. Run, pin. Okay, this is our DPS in that, with using a fix for Ignite Munching with a 50 millisecond delay, so which is kind of like what Pyroblast Fake Q. Now let's just say we weren't even delaying our Pyroblast. We're just going to accept Ignite Munching is happening. Ignite Munching by itself in phase 2 BIS, about a 215 DPS decrease, right? Now, if you increase this Pyroblast delay up to, let's say, like a 325 millisecond, you're using anti-Q, you have high ping, what's the DPS decrease from that? About the same as if you were doing no fix for Ignite Munching. So, the bad part about anti-Q is that if your ping is very high and you also suck at mashing keys because you are not very much of a gamer, then the DPS decrease could be just as much as if you weren't doing anything to mitigate against Ignite Munching. Now, I recommend still using it because it's unlikely that you're going to be introducing gaps that large. But this is not as good as Fake Q, and it's going to cause us somewhat of a DPS loss. Is it going to be a nicer gameplay? Actually, not really. While the Pyroblast Fake Q froze your game some, Anti-Q forces you to mash the ever-loving crap out of your Pyroblast towards the end of your Fireball key, right? Because if you're not mashing it up, then it's not going to go off as fast as if you were mashing, right? So that is the downside to this. This is the way it is, though, for now. However, there is some great news from our man, Agran. All right, this is what he wrote. Here's what he said to the Mage Discord. Basically, you know, TLDRs, a hotfix went out that broke it. It was needed to protect against certain exploits. It's pretty important that they have these protections in, so they're not going to just roll this change back. Pretty good reason why we restricted it, so we might need to get cute to restore your functionality without allowing other problems. It's going to require a client change, so unlikely that they come up with something before the weekend, but they are working on this. So hopefully by next week, we have something in that allows us to still use Pyroblast Fake Q WeakAura as a, again, temporary band-aid until Ignite Munching is actually fixed, and we will see whatever Blizzard comes up with for an Ignite Munching fix on the next PTR, hopefully. All right, that's the thing. Now, there was a lot of speculation about, well, because they broke the WeakAura, does that mean that they have a fix coming soon? Nope, it sounds like these are just it's just a coincidence that they're working on an Ignite Munching fix while the Pyroblast Fake Q WeakAura got broken. It's just a coincidence. However, them looking into Ignite Munching and then the Pyroblast Fake Q WeakAura probably made them realize, hey, there's some functions that WeakAuras are able to take advantage of that we shouldn't allow them to because it allows for certain exploits or something like that. So it just happens to be a coincidence. But even though it seems to be a coincidence that they're breaking the Pyroblast Fake Q WeakAura while working on the official fix, there is at least some Ignite Munching fix news, and most of that has to do with Agren's post on the Mage Discord. He talks about how, you know, proper fix for Ignite Deep Wounds is preferable. However, now that they have a official fix in the pipeline, they actually are, or at least he is a little more open to a travel speed adjustment on Fireball or Pyroblast as a temporary band-aid until they get the official fix rolling. He also says, you know, there may be some things I don't know about, so until we can discuss further, I can't promise anything. In general, we are thinking about options now. Just, you know, not necessarily the travel speed, but just other band-aids until they get the official fix rolling, because maybe the official fix is pretty complex, difficult for them to implement. They still have to put it on the PTR once they do have it, they come up with it, and make sure that it is working properly. So since that's a lot right there, maybe forget them to get that rolling, as well as make sure it's working right. They will give us a temporary band-aid in the meantime, hopefully. At the very least, it looks like he is working on a fix for the fix, which is as in a fix for Pyroblast Fake Q, which is a fix for Ignite Munching. So we're getting fixes for the fixes now. Again, take it all with a grain of salt. This is just coming from Agren. Agren's one person. He isn't the full dev team. He's working with them. He's getting up to speed. I guess he was maybe taking some leave or something. So take this all with a grain of salt. But hopefully by next week, we hear something at least in regards to this. Maybe Blue Post, or we just simply get a fix for the fix. And then, yeah, keep crossing the fingers for the Ignite Munching fix on the PTR. But it sounds like that is coming down the pipe. Or at least they're certainly working on it, is what Agren says. And then also keep your fingers crossed as far as other band-aids, such as just them adjusting the travel speed of Pyroblast or Fireball so that we don't have to use anything until they get the official fix in place. So yeah, a lot of hopes and praises in the chat. Anyways, guys, that's all I got. Just want to get this video out here to inform you. Hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.